And today we will be reviewing Power Book 3 Raising Kanan. And I'm here for it, honey. We are here for it, honey. Let's talk about it. Hey, loves. So here we are with a new season, okay? All right, a brand new season, a brand new book of Power, okay, book 3. And this show pretty much is about Kanan and his rise and how he became who he was, who we met back in the Power universe, okay? And I was here for it. I loved it. And baby, I'm not going to miss a week, okay? So let's talk about it. So we start off with a whole new intro of the song. Now I heard the song like 2-3 months back when 50 first released the video, but I love seeing the intro. It gave me very 80s vibe. I'm here for it. I'm a late 80s baby, so you know I was here for it. Okay, the song is dope. I think they need to edit it to kind of meet. The way it ended was like abruptly. They should edit it to where it kind of matches the intro. But other than that, I love the new song. Okay. And so, this is pretty much the show starts off. Now, excuse me, I'm looking down at my notes, so you will be seeing me look down. But no, just hang through. So the show starts in 1985 in Southside Jamaica, Queens, and Kane is outside getting his ass beat. He getting beat up by some little dudes in the project for his money. This is how we're introducing to Kanan, right? And I love that 50 Cent is narrating this, okay? So because it's giving us that feel, all right? And 50 did a great job narrating. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season and him, talking us through. So we automatically meet Cousin Jukebox now. And she's being held back as Kanan is getting beat up. And Kanan runs home. And 50's pretty much like, that's something you don't do. Now, they're in Southside Jamaica, okay, Queens. And I'm from New Jersey, and New York is like my second home. So I've been to Jamaica, Queens. So it was really dope to like just the ambiance. It just gave me such like nostalgia for back home. And so Kanan's running home. He runs in the house, and we're automatically greeted with Kanan and his mom's boyfriend, Post, right? And they're sitting at the table, and this is Raquel. Now, Kanan's mom name is Raquel, but they call her Rock. So if you hear me address Rock, that is Kanan's mom, okay? And so he runs upstairs, and automatically we're introduced, and 50's letting us know. Kanan's letting us know that he was a great dude to his mom, but he dies a year later from being set on fire for like pretty much talking, okay? Or telling. He didn't say telling what, but he told something. We don't know who set him on fire. And so then the mom goes upstairs and she's like, what's going on? And he's like, the kid's name, they beat me up, they took my money. And she's like, I told you not to flash your money. He like, but I didn't flash it. She like, but you talked about it. She gets a sock. Put some double D batteries in this sock, girl. When I say this is old school, this is old school. Okay, honey? And she like, we're going back to that park. I said, oh shit. This gonna be my show. Okay, not the violence part, but the accuracy of it all. It's the accuracy for me. Okay. Y'all gotta excuse me, I'm geeked up about the show. Alright. So they get the socks with the batteries, and mom pulls up. Mom straight tells Kanan, deal with them or deal with me. If that ain't the most accurate saying I heard growing up, I've heard so many parents tell their kids, if you get beat up, I'm whooping your ass. Okay, you better not get beat up. If you gonna fight, you better whoop somebody. And so he walks over there with the socks, crumbling his hand. He walks over, and little dude like, didn't I tell you? And Kanan said, bam, and you heard crack. I was like, ooh. And he steps over his ass. And the other little boy like, whoa, 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 crack again, and beat him. And all the kids like, ooh, Kanan, ooh, dang, that's karma. Ooh, he came back. That's revenge for your ass. And I'm like, ooh, mama stood over there like, and I said, there you go. She done created a monster, okay? And after that, we're introduced to Kanan, and after that, Kanan ain't a punk no more. the show fast forward to 1991, and I love the music soundtrack of the show. And if you are if you are a fan of old school traditional hip hop, you're gonna love this soundtrack. Okay. Kanan is in high school with his mom, and he's talking to the principal. And pretty much, Kanan is smart, and the principal is wanting Kanan to go to a school that is going to like be brand new built with escalators, and it's worth millions of dollars. And you have to take an exam, a test to get into the school. That's how elite this school is. And the mom is excited, as you can see, and pretty much like she wants him to excel. Okay, she wants him to get out of the hood, out of the projects. Well, they don't live in the projects, but out of the hood, should I say? But Kanan doesn't want to leave. Kanan, when they leave the office, he's like, "Mom, I want to be here." Now, I would say this: when the young man who is playing 50 Cent, his name is Makai Curtis. I believe it's Makai. I think that's how you say his name. He sounds just like 50. Okay, 50 worked with him one-on-one on his character, and he had the slur. But as the show goes, you don't really hear it. I think they was just like telling him just to act, because it would have been really hard trying to keep that kind of 50 Cent accent. But when he first talked, I was like, ooh, okay, nice, okay. They're walking down the hall, and the mom stops, and she looks at this like wall of like stars, the hemisphere, right? The constellations, okay. And we learn that Kanan's mom, Rochelle Rock, is smart. She is smart. Clearly, the way she talked about it, what I'm picking up is that was her work. Okay, she was into stars. She was into constellations. Like this is a smart woman. So we see where Kanan get it from, right? And she's just like pretty much like, you're gonna go, you're gonna become a CEO, you're gonna do great things. You're gonna get out of this lifestyle. Pretty much like the atmosphere of like the hood, the projects. Okay. And then we're introduced to Kanan's cousin Jukebox, who we were introduced to initially in Power as the police officer, right? And who was played by Laverne Ganner from The Princess of the Frog, if you remember her. She played Jukebox, the one who was helping him kidnap Tariq, right? So we meet young Jukebox, and she could sing. Like, whoever the girl is, I should have looked her up, who can sing. The girl can blow. She has such a beautiful voice. And so we meet young Jukebox, and he pretty much tell us she may sing beautiful, but she get down with the get down, okay? Now I'm waiting on that. And it's now in the cafeteria, and he meets his crush. His crush calls him, who is played by Lovey Simone. If anyone ever watched Greenleaf, she played Zora. So when I saw her, I'm like, that's Zora. And it sure was, girl. And I love how her baby hair is laid down, okay? And she's in line, they're talking, and I feel like she was flirting with him. And you could tell he was like just mesmerized by her. He was saying how, like, she don't even know she fly. That's what makes her more attractive, okay? And we get a little introduction into that. So then the scene jumps over into the cafe, right? We meet the crew. And there's a bunch of people sitting at the table, and we meet Famous, okay? And Famous is their friend. I think he's been their friend since they were like real little. I have the age somewhere down here, but like real little, right? And what I mean, I got a straight flashback when he was like, "Hey, give me a beat," and dudes started beating on the table. Yo, we did the same exact thing in school. We would have somebody make beats on the table, and all be trying to freestyle. This show just like gave me life, okay? But they call him Famous, and he starts rapping. The jukebox like, "You alright? You alright?" And he looks over at, I think her name is Davina, the girl he has a crush on, Davina. And he looks over at Davina, and she got a boyfriend, and we learned that her boyfriend name is Buck 20. Remember that name? Buck 20, okay? The cousin Jukebox come over like, when you gonna get at her? How long have you been crushing on that girl? Since the 2nd grade. But how long have she been curving you? Since the 1st grade. He's like, you need to give that up. He like, never. And I'm like, oh, she's gonna probably be an important part of this show. And so then the scene jumps over to Kanan. And Kanan, Uncle Lulu and his mom, Rochelle Rock, is walking down the hospital hallway. And 50 gives us a brief story on how Uncle Lulu is his mom's right-hand man, and he gets it all done, right? And they're walking down the hall, and they're talking like this weird language. Like, I had to rewind this one part like 2 times, because I was like, it was late. It was like 1 in the morning when I watched it Sunday, and I'm like, am I hearing right? Like, am I sleepy? That sleepy? But 50 explains that they have a code that they speak, and to tell us to mind our damn business. And I said, honey, I will mind it, because that had me thinking I was crazy. But later on in this episode, we learned the code that they're speaking. So they walk into this hospital room. Mrs. Du laid up in the bed. He's shot in the leg. We learn right off the bat, okay, they into dope. They dope dealers, okay? They're about that life. And we learned that the guy was shot by his rivals, who we're going to meet soon. And we then learned that Kanan has an older brother, Uncle Marvin, and he's always eating. And this is the word from 50 as he narrated. I had to write this down because I loved it. He said, we learned that Uncle Marvin never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity, but he's loyal. And I was like, yo, I just love whoever writes these shows. I know 50 has a lot to do with it, but whoever writes these shows, they do a phenomenal job, okay? So Uncle Marvin's sitting there, he's just like, we need to, you know what I'm saying? We need to do something. And we learn from Kanan's mom, Rock, that we're not in a position. We're pretty much too hurt right now to like be in war on the streets, to go to war. So I'm gonna go handle this, okay? So she leaves the hospital room, right? And Uncle Marv takes the guy who's in the hospital applesauce, like, don't sleep on hospital applesauce. And I'm like, oh Lord, he is always eating, okay? And so then we go to the next scene where we hear Public Enemy in the background playing, and it's Kanan, Jukebox, and Famous at it looks like a pizzeria, and they're playing Street Fighter 2, the arcade game, okay? For us old heads, it ain't nothing like sitting there with that joystick hitting random buttons, okay? And I was all here for it, and they're playing, and so Kanan like, look, I got next, because of course Jukebox beat Famous in the game, and as he walks to the window, he looks across the street. See this nice B, I think it's a Benz. And this dude get out, and his name is Unique. Can we take a moment to appreciate Joey Badass, who plays Unique? Now, I was taken back by Joey Badass when he played in Mr. Robot. Now, if you ever watched Mr. Robot, he played towards like the end of the show. He played the dude in Mr. Robot that saved the main characters behind a few times. I knew he can act in, but I had no idea. And I've seen him in something recently, but no idea this man can act. Not only do he got bars and he can spit, he can act, okay? Ooh, I ain't gonna lie. This episode made me have a little crush on Joey Badass, okay? Because that made me act his ass off. He gets out of the car, and we learn that he goes over and daps Buck 20. Remember that name? Buck 20 is Davina, who is Kanan's crush boyfriend, right? So he's dapping. So pretty much he's working for Unique. And what 50 saying in his narration is either dudes either want to be like him or work for him, right? And D-Wiz, who you're gonna learn later on, come up like his car is bulletproof. And then we got a little introduction to that. Then the scene goes to Lulu and Rock, Kanan's mom, going into a club looking for a guy named Hugo. Okay, this is his club. This is Hugo's club. And they go to meet, and they're like, where's Hugo? And the guy behind the bar, like, he's not here. And some little Becky with blonde hair comes, the publicist. She's like, he's not here. He's taking Amen today. How can I help you? And they're like, yeah, we're here to do some business. And this girl with her little barking ass dog goes, oh, I know who you are. You're the drug dealers. And I'm like, girl, like, where's the coof? She just came straight out. You're the drug dealers and had the audacity to say, your blow is all stepped on and dirty. We won't be selling it no more, okay? I will be using my source. And Rock like, the hell you are? Girl, you don't know who I am or who I may be, okay? And white girl was buck. Because white girl was like, don't think because I'm some little white girl that I'm scared of you. So Lulu like, let me speak. Let me speak to her. So Rock over like, yeah, you better. Rock goes over, and his mom go over to the bar while Lulu's talking to the publicist on her little barking ass dog. And we meet Symphony. Symphony, I want to say Basquiat or something, and he was fine. Ooh, he was fine, okay? Pretty much they met, and they're flirting, and you could tell they had something, and Lulu was like, hey, we're going to talk to Hugo later, right? Hugo later, so they leave, right? And then we go to another scene where Kanan's with his family, and they meet at a diner called Lamont's Diner every Wednesday night, and they have been doing this since he was a kid. Let me tell you something. If you are from the East Coast, if you're from the tri-state area, okay, diners are, I don't know now, I haven't been home in years, diners was our life. If we left a club, we went to the diner. If we got up early in the morning, we went to the diner. If we had a group of people, like, I miss going to the diners. Like, this show just gave me so much great nostalgia. So they're sitting in the diner, and they're talking, and automatically Kanan's like, yo, like, Jukebox can sing, in choir, her rehearsal, she has such a beautiful voice. And then we learned that Uncle Marvin is the father of Jukebox. Okay, that's the older brother of Kanan's mom, Rochelle. That's how they're related, right? And then Lulu brings up how Kanan's supposed to be taking his test to go to the school. And Marvin's like, well, what about Jukebox? Why are you not going? And Jukebox turns to her father, Uncle Marvin, and was like, because you told me them white people pretty much wouldn't pay me no mind. Okay? And right there, that tells you how negativity, you know, I don't know what it is about black people in our culture, but instead of us uplifting and saying, look, you can do this, we quick to, because we feel like we can't do it, we're quick to put that onto somebody else. So he like, well, why don't you try Jukebox? Like, I'm too old now. So I'm assuming she is maybe a senior in high school. And so all of a sudden, Famous, who is the Puerto Rican friend, he pops up with his sister. I believe her name is Jessica. And he like, we just stopping by, and Rochelle like, well, sit down. You know, Rock's like, sit down, I'll feed y'all. And he like, I was just stopping by, and Kanan like, bro, we here every Wednesday. You did not come here just to stop by. So they sit down, and automatically Lulu and Jessica hit it off. Lulu is the uncle, and Jessica is Famous' sister. And they hit it off. So that's probably going to be something, right? So they're all laughing. They're having a good time. And then the scene goes to them all standing outside the diner. They're talking. And Famous calls over Kanan like, hey, I don't want your uncle. He just came straight out and said, I don't want your uncle dealing with my sister. Y'all want him to stay with my sister. She ain't about this life. And Jukebox like, bro, you've been trying to be a part of this family since I can freaking remember. Ease up. You be alright. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, I got it. Since she was 4 years old. So this is how long they've all been friends since Famous was 4, okay? And he's been wanting to be a part of this family since he was 4. Then, so as Marvin and Rochelle is talking, they see a car creep up now. Where growing up in Jersey, girl, when you see a car creeping down the street and no headlights on, run. That's going to be a drive-by, okay? Now, I'm not saying I've been a part of one, but you grow up in that type of environment, you prepared at all times, especially at night, okay? So the car comes creeping up, and they like, get out. Marv saw it. Thank God Marv saw it. He like, get out. And everybody runs and get behind a car, but they wasn't shooting at them. They were shooting in the air like warning shots, right? So you could tell Kanan's scene, I played it, I watched it twice, that looked like that was Buck 20 in the backseat. When they zoomed in the car, I'm not sure. It looks like him. But Kanan saw, I guess he saw him. So he knew exactly it was unique. So everybody was okay. And then Lulu would protect Famous' sister. And when he get up, she's like, no one's ever done that before. And Lulu like, you messing with the wrong dudes. Clearly. She's like, obvious. And I'm like, ooh, she about to give up them draws. Famous sister about to give up them draws, honey, okay? He saved her life. And so then the scene then goes to where Kanan and his mom is back home. And she goes to check in on him after the shooting. And he's just like, Mom, like, I know what's going on. I heard y'all talking code outside. Let me make sure I got my notes, right? We learned the code that they are speaking is supreme mathematics, and also 5%ers speak this. 5%ers is a group of usually men who are very high intellectuals. And this is a language that they speak like in math and code. Don't get me to ask me nothing I don't. I just wrote down what they said. But if you're smart, you know. Okay? And he's like, I understand what's going on, man. Like, I know who that was. I know who was that was shooting at us. You know what I'm saying? Shooting near us, whatever. And she's just like, no, you're gonna focus on school. I got this, don't worry. And he's like, I don't want you to die. What happens to you if you die? And she's like, well, you're gonna stay with your grandmother. And pretty much Kanan ain't hearing that, okay? You can already tell it's about to be some So then we go to the next scene where Rocco meets Unique, aka Joey Badass, okay? And about the shooting. And she like, yo, like, y'all shot at my family last night. And he said, we wasn't trying to hurt nobody. We just wanted to get your attention so we can get this meeting. And so pretty much he just did that so it would force her to come to him. So she came to him. They're walking through this big old park in New York and they're talking, right? And we learned that Unique's brother was the one who was running that gang, that cartel, however you want to put it. But now he's serving life, and it left to Unique to run it. And clearly, Rochelle and this Unique's older brother, he said his name, but his older brother pretty much had some type of relationship. Maybe it was romantic, I'm not sure. But clearly they had something, and he's like, yeah, my brother's not here. So however you did it with him, it's not how we're doing it now. So he has an issue because now they're discussing territory. He like, hey, there was a block that was off territory, and y'all went ahead and grabbed it. And she pretty much like, look, this is how we're going to split it. Unique got 140 to 143. Now, if you're from Jamaica, Queens, you know exactly where those blocks is, right? You're from 140 to 143, and she like, we're going to get X amount of blocks. And he like, well, why you get that extra block? She like, see, this is not what we got to do. You going to get these blocks or not? So they both come to an agreement, and pretty much Rock let it be known like, hey, for that shooting, yo, my people's ready to get down, okay? They ready to do some work. And we learn again, it was confirmed, even by Unique, he said, Rock, you know you can't do that. Neither one of us can. We cannot afford a war right now. We both hurting. We hurt too bad to be out here shooting each other up. So they agreed on the blocks. Remember that, people. They agreed on the block. Okay? Whew. So then, this part had me cracking up, okay? We get to the white girl, the publicist with the little barking dog. We get to her, of course, throwing down on a black dude, okay? Like, we surprised, having sex with a black guy. And then, in the middle of them doing something, she like, do you smell something? I smell something. So she like, what is that smell? She get up from sex with this man, walks towards her kitchen. Her microwave's on. And when she opened her microwave, her little dog is in there cooked. Baby, this is giving me all Fatal Attraction when sis cooked that bunny. I said, ooh, we cooking microwaving dogs now? This what we doing? And y'all already know who did it. I don't even gotta say the name. If you don't know, you need to know. Okay, and I saw that. I said, oh, damn. They snuck in the house while she was getting it in. The dude probably set her up. The dude probably hit on her to distract her. That was a message, okay? The message worked. You'll see that message work, okay? So then we got Kanan outside of like a library or like a school and for the exam. So she hands him his lunch. He goes inside. He sits down, there's this room full of people. Now, when you look at the demographic, it is majority of white people with a few Asian people, and I did see some sprinkle of black people. And he's sitting there, and he's thinking, and I'm going to read my notes, because some parts got to be said verbatim. He made the choice to purposely fail this test, because he says it's his mom over everything. And what he looked like being downtown with a bunch of white Negroes. That's what he said. I ain't gonna say the other word, but he said white. Okay, white people. And let me go back a little bit. So right after Kanan talked to his mom about the shooting and about, he didn't want her to die, it did go to a scene where Kanan, Famous, and Jukebox was walking to the bus stop to go to school. And Famous says to Kanan, "Oh, if I was you, I would fail the test because I wouldn't want to be around a bunch of white folks." And now we flash forward, Kanan's taking an exam, and Kanan says the same exact thing in the scene where he's like, "What I look like being downtown with a bunch of white people." And I'm like, that sounds like Famous. See what I'm saying? Negative seeds get planted into your head. Because when he said it, Kanan had that look like, yeah, right. I think he cared too much. Like, it was just too much. To me, it was just too much negativity around him to but he made the choice. At the end of the day, he made the choice. He fails the test. So this fool go ahead and circle every B down this column of the test. Y'all remember those test pencils that had A, B, C, D, and you had to circle the bubbles? Ooh, Lord. I hated those. And I thought it was D. I was always told when you do D's, you're most likely to take a chance you might get them right. But he did the B's, right? He did the B's. And so he walks out early. I mean, he wasn't in there maybe 10 minutes. And he walks out. He hands the test to the guy. He walks out. He goes to the pizza spot where we were introduced to earlier. And Famous and D-Wiz. Now, D-Wiz is the guy who was beating on the table making the beat at school in the beginning of this episode. And he D-Wiz messy because he hey, yo, Unique and them boys over there on your mama block, right? And Kanan yeah, we gonna handle that. We about to go handle that. And D-Wiz hey, my brother got some heat around the apartment, our place. I know where they at. And Kanan, aka 50, goes to narrate to tell us that D-Wiz is not a punk. This is gonna be pretty much. I think this is gonna be his A1. Okay, that's what it sounds like. And so then we go to Jukebox. She's standing outside the school, and it's a bunch of white kids. So I'm thinking, Jukebox about to go run down on this white publicist girl, maybe sister or little cousin, and beat her up. But as she walked towards the school, she's met with these 3 white girls, and one white girl's like, "Can we help y'all? Can we help y'all? All right." And she's like, "Oh," the white girl in the middle is like, "Oh, this is my friend, Jukebox, pretty much. And we know each other from choir, I guess choir rehearsal or some type of choir thing." And the white girl was like, "So where are you from?" And Jukebox like, "Jamaica." And the white girl like, "Oh my God, you go to school all the way in Jamaica?" And the other friend, the white girl like, "Oh my God, no, Jamaica, Queens." And then she like, "All right, well, I'm gonna meet up with y'all later." And she walks off with Jukebox. And we go to learn that this is Jukebox's little crush. I guess her little girlfriend. So we go to learn this is Jukebox, I guess, little girlfriend. Now, I'm not surprised that Jukebox is into girls. Because if you look how Jukebox carried herself from the first time we're introduced to her and how she looked like she's into girls. I was more surprised that it was a white girl. Okay, I was like, she got jungle fever, she got jiggle fever, she got jungle fever, and she's in love, okay? And so, they talk about how her little snow bunny was talking about how she had a dance where, I guess, for full of rich white kids, white girls, and how, Jukebox was saying she never been to one, and she's like, she want Jukebox to show. Now, I get the whole being in love thing, ain't nothing wrong with that. But you gonna bring a black girl up into an all-white rich establishment? Honey, if that happens, let me tell you, that's gonna be a disaster. Watch what I say. Okay? So they're talking and they're flirting, and pretty much, I think it was cute though. It was cute. to see Jukebox so like nervous. This looked like this might be Jukebox's first like real crush. So I'm curious to see like where this is gonna go, especially with her daddy being Uncle Marvin. Okay, we get a small okay, so then we get a small scene where Marvin and Raquel, they meet up, and he like Hugo said everything's good, and he mentioned something about a microwave and a dog, and Raquel go, "What white girl?" and get in the car, and Marvin busts out laughing because we all know, okay, Rock microwave that dog, okay, microwave that dog, all right. This is like the climax of this episode, okay? This is what we are building up to find out how Kanan became Kanan, all right? Kanan's on the corner with his homeboys, right? I'm gonna paint this picture for y'all, all right? I'm gonna paint this picture for y'all. He on the corner with his homeboys, right? They sitting with a backpack, right? And it's like 5 of them. And he goes around the corner, he peek, and he like, see, that's what I'm saying, yo, like, they disrespectful. So then he like, hey, what a gat. D-Wiz open the backpack, hand him a gun, he take a gun out. He look at them like, I don't know what y'all about to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna get my jersey on y'all real quick. I'm gonna break this down with y'all like real tough. You know what I'm saying? So then, Famous like, I ain't about to run out there. I ain't got nothing. They get to shooting. You know what I'm saying? The other 2 dudes looking like, I ain't about to do this, right? So then Kanan takes it like, you know what? Y'all staying here. Y'all staying back. We gonna handle this time, right? So Kanan puts on his hoodie. That's when you knew his life was getting ready to change, okay? He puts on his hoodie. He walks around the corner with D-Wiz. And I wasn't aware of who it was until 50 narrated it, but it was Buck 20, Davina's boyfriend. Davina, who Kanan crush on. He like, hi, Kanan, man, what you want, man? And Kanan and D-Wiz pull the gat out, and everybody run, and they lit Buck 50 up. And after they shoot him, D-Wiz like, which one of us shoot him? Who hit him? And Kanan walks over, and 50 starts narrating how, like, you never forget the first time you take a life. You know what I'm saying? The dude grabs him. I ain't gonna lie, like that. I have my reasons, but that was a very emotional thing for me. And he grabs him, and 50, well, Kanan is staring at him, like, you know what I'm saying, watching this man die. And then Famous come around and come like, hey, yo, the police on his way, the cops 5-0, and they run off. And that's when we knew this is about to get real ugly, okay? Real quick. So then, after all of that, we learn he just killed Davina's boyfriend, okay, Buck 50. So then, it goes to a small scene where Rock is out on a date with this guy, Symphony. Now, Symphony is the guy that was in Hugo's restaurant with the publicist girl that Rock was flirting with. They're on a date, and they're talking, and they're having, like, this intellectual conversation, and Lulu walks up into the restaurant, and all he says is one word, Kanan. Rochelle jumps up, pays for dinner, storms out. Symphony like, but I asked you out. Next thing you know, Rock is going in on Kanan, okay? So, Kanan like, Unique tried to kill you, and on top of that, he on your block. That's what Kanan learned. Rock like, yo, I gave him them blocks. So you just killed the kid over a block I gave him. And I'm like, ooh, see? Getting in your mama's business, and you had no business in your mama's business, okay? So Kanan like, well, why would you do that? And Marvin like, great question. And she turns to Marvin, Uncle Marvin, her oldest brother, pretty much like, you can't sit in my shoes. Remember, pretty much what she's saying is, you tried this, and you ain't built for this. So unless you want to go start your own, shut up. Let me deal with my son. That's pretty much what Rock says. Right? So then, Jukebox is questioned by Uncle Marvin, her father, like, well, and where were you? And she's like, I was in choir rehearsal. And Kanan looks over at her like, you know, I'm pretty sure he knows her schedule. And he like, oh, she over here singing, you know. But we all know Jukebox was with Becky with the blonde hair. That's where she was at. All right? So then Kanan let his mom know he wants to help her. right? And she's like, you need to focus on school. And gives a speech on how like she could have sent him away to go stay with his grandmother because the schools was good. But Kanan, like, if you wanted to do that, you would have did that. But for some odd weird reason, you kept me here because this we all we got. We all we got. So don't give me that whole like you want me to do good and send me off when you've kept me around. Okay? Like, Kanan, you know what? You need to go to your room. And Kanan straight tells her, like, you can't tell. This man killed somebody and now telling his mama, you can't tell me what to do. She like, hold on, stop, period. Wait, what? No, I'm your mama. I tell you what to do and you do it. And Kanan just pretty much like, Ma, like, who else gonna have your back? Who else? He looks over at his uncles and he like, somebody gotta stand for you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gotta have your back. So then pretty much Lulu and Marvin is like, hey, you gotta get rid of that shirt. Because she's like, who blood is that? And it's like, it's the other kid, it's Buck 20. So she's like, you gotta burn it. So Lulu takes him to go get rid of the shirt. And as he's sitting on the bed, he's replaying the shooting that just happened earlier that day. So he goes downstairs to try to go talk to his mother. She like, too soon. Don't come down here trying to have a conversation with me. Don't sit here trying to be my friend. My son just went out here and took somebody's life over something that had nothing to do with him. I had it fixed and situated, okay? And so she like, take the garbage outside. Pause. As soon as she said that, I'm looking at my screen like, so your son just killed your rival's member of his squad. You know there's a flag on his head, and you sent him outside to take out the garbage? That wasn't smart. So Kanan takes the garbage, and she like, and I'm sending you to your grandmother's. So she like, you right. I should have. From day one. So Kanan gets the garbage. He takes it outside. And of course, we know a car pull up and yells his name, Ayo Kanan, and get the shooting. Now Kanan was quick on his feet. Okay? Because he jumped behind a car. Rochelle hears it. She come dashing out the house. Mama Dude's got some, you could tell she got some aim. Because she was hitting the back of that car. She was lighting that car up. She runs out there like, Kanan, you all right? And he like, yeah, I'm good. And I'm like, yeah, this boy gonna be in some serious trouble, okay? And so, next thing we know, we meet Officer Howard, okay? Who is played by Omar Epps, all right? And this, when he came out with his bald head and was talking, I'm like, he was giving me Into Deep vibes, okay? He was giving me Into Deep vibes. He come out with his little bop, his little boo boo bop, you know, his walk. I love me some Omar Epps, y'all. And we understand he's the cops, and 50 like he's like the hood cop, like he's the cop of the streets. He think he can tell people, and he walks up. And he go to Raquel like, hey, it seems like your boy's balls drop. Little dude balls drop. You know what I'm saying? There's a word on the street. There's something. It's a flag. You know what I'm saying? There's a price on his head. And Rock like, nah, they got the wrong kid. I don't know what you're talking about. And he like, so lights her cigarette light. So that's the story you're gonna stick with. She like, that's what I'm sticking with. He like, all right. And looks at Kanan like, careful out here in these streets. And then Marvin, Lulu, and Jukebox show up. They're like, we're family, and they go over. And as Rochelle is walking away with them, she's like, this time they weren't shooting in the sky. Pretty much, they were shooting at him. And Jukebox over there with Kanan like, you know, she like, I'm glad you're still alive. And he like, me too. And he like, where were you really earlier? You was with that white girl? And Jukebox smiling like, yeah. And pretty much, Lulu looks over at Rochelle like, look, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your son. I can't tell you what to do with your son. But you know they're coming for him. And Marvin like, and you can't save him. Okay? And that's when we knew, like, Kanan's now part of the family. He's a part of the lifestyle, okay? So then we get Rock goes to meet Unique. Ooh, this was a tense meeting too. And Unique has, I think, like $150K to Unique for $150's family for his death to help support them while he's gone. I guess for the funeral arrangements maybe. And Unique like, nah, you really think this money gonna fix that? I'm looking at my notes. He's like, you think that money? Nah, your boy violated the truce pretty much. Like your boy then stuck his head and his friends then got involved in something that had nothing to do with him. And Rock is like, nah, y'all violating by shooting up my son, like shooting at my boy last night. Girl, this is the streets. What did you think? What did you think, girl? That's just how it goes, you know? And Unique straight like, end quote, and we gonna keep coming until me and you come to a resolution. And Straight was like, all the blocks of bonds. You make no more money. Every block you got, mine now. And what could Rock say? Her son just made a critical error. They came to an agreement, and he just dissolved it. Just like that, okay? And Rock like, all right, bet. Okay, but no one could touch Kanan. No one could touch Kanan. No one could touch him. And Unique states like he'll call off his goons, but he don't have control on with somebody else. That's what he did. That's what he did. Okay, he did that. I got no control over what anybody else may do. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly, homie made a critical error. Okay, but we know Kanan don't die from this situation because we met him back in power when he was a grown man out of jail. And so pretty much, Rock states that Kanan's not in this, and I love this part. I did, because when she said that, ooh, Joey badass, ooh, he could act his behind off, honey. He looks at her and said, Kanan is you in DEFCON. So I'm thinking that was his father name, DEFCON. I'm thinking. And he says, quote, Kanan is you and DEFCON's boy, Rock. Kanan was in this before he was in this. And I'm like, ooh, that's deep. That's deep. That's deep, okay? And that's why Unique said that's why he don't believe a woman should be in this game, because they're too emotional. You know, you can't have emotions, because when he says emotions and distractions will make you weak. And Rock is like, you got a son too, so you're not going to sit here and tell me you don't care about your son like I do. But Unique made a very good point. He made a very good point. He said, you carry George. Y'all shared the same body. You know what I'm saying? Me and my son don't have that bond. We don't have that chemistry. She like, actually, biology. He said, that's what makes it worse. Look, I told y'all this. Look, I knew that from the top of my dome. I'm invested into this show, okay? I've seen book 2, I've seen Power, and I've seen book 3. And if they come out with a 4, 5, 6, I'm watching all of them, all right? She like, I'm not blinking. I got my eye open. And he walks off. So Rock don't have no more blocks. So I don't know how they're going to make their money. So then we go to the final scene of the show. And Rock goes into Kanan's room, wake him up like, hey, let's go. Kanan's thinking he's going to his grandmother's, but they pull up into this parking lot, and she pulls him out, and they're standing there, and it looks like they're facing the ocean. Rock, like, you know, his mom, like, let me know, like, real talk, how did you do on that test? Be honest. And he's like, well, if most of the answers are B's, I did okay. And she was like, Kanan went hard on the B's. I fell out. And she was like, you threw the test. You threw the test. And you could tell she was, like, so disappointed, right? And Rock tells him to look up in the sky and look at Orion, the star constellation Orion the hunter. And she let it be known, Orion is the hunter. We are Orion. We are hunters. We are not to be hunted. She pulls a gun out, hand it to Kanan, and show him. He pulls the gun out with one hand. She said, both hands. And he shoots the gun. And I love what she said. And I wrote it down. She said, that bullet is circling the world now with your name on it, and you will be running from it forever. And I was like, that is so deep. Okay, that was deep. That was deeper than rap music, okay? And you wanted to be in it now, and now you're in it. And so she pulls her gun out, they shoot together, and at the end, you just see Kanan. He got a little smirk on his face, like you could tell he was loving pulling that trigger. And that was it, y'all. Now, I excuse y'all if I was a little dramatic. I'm very animated when it comes to telling stories, okay? I love this show. I'm in it to win it, okay? But I want to thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as well. Let me know down below in the comments if you're also a Power fan. You know what I'm saying? So we can connect on that. But I definitely want to say thank you so much for sticking through, watching this with me. I really appreciate you all. And I'll be back with episode 2, okay, next week. And I just want to say thank you guys. Until then, smooches.